Alright, well you guys got all the parts here. Well, not all the parts, but the Jackshaft parts are all ready to go here. So I've got both of my bearings, both of my mounting plates, both of these bars, and I think I'm going to attempt to assemble this all right here. Yeah. Don't know if I like that too much. The tip of the nut just barely sticks out, or the tip of the bolt barely sticks out of the nut. So I might get rid of one of those washers I have in there, because I got a flat washer and a lock washer. I don't know. These need to be adjusted right. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two bolts and I'm going to weld them onto the underside here so they don't keep falling out. Alright, well guys, I got those. I just used a little tacked about a quarter of the way of one of these on these nuts here. So got them tightened down also. I don't know about you guys, but in the last video I uploaded, can you guys hear like this putter, 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 putter? It's like a boom, 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 boom. That comes from the camera. Yeah, that's not my fan. Now comes part that I think might be a problem. Will these nuts interfere oh, just barely. Okay.
I got a lock washer and a lock nut on here. Yeah, I'm gonna lock it up.
I'm not too sure. I probably won't tighten these down completely because I have a feeling about something that my torque converter won't. Well, technically, actually what I'm going to do is I'm only going to connect two of these and then stick everything together so that way I don't burn out all of my lock nuts. This is where sometimes it pays to have regular nuts over lock nuts, because every time you use a lock nut you burn it out, you waste it. So it's a good idea to get your hands on some nuts that are not locking. Shoot, what's going on here? See that is supposed to be in the very center and it's not. Welded up. And now let's bring this over to the machine. Tighten up these on the axle so I don't have it. Put this stuff together. Now I will eventually be putting in some extra bracing in here. It's just not going to be these two towers in here that's going to be supporting all of this. I'm going to eventually... Oh, damn. Okay, I see what's going on here. I'll be putting in some bracing going from here to here also. But looks like I'm gonna have to turn one of these around. See how that all looks right now? This plate needs to be in line with this one, and that's totally off. So I'm either gonna need to turn, you have to turn this stock around, this tower around, and probably put this bearing on the inside of the L piece here, so this will line up with the side of the engine. Well, let me see what I can do here. Alright, well, I've got this tacked in there now. Just tacked in there. Give you a better idea of what it's doing. I had to turn the bearing around, and I was going to put the bearing on the inside, but then I realized that that wouldn't give me much room down here to put this nut on underneath this flange here. So I was like, crap, well, maybe it'll work this way. So hopefully it's going to work this way. But so I can slide back and forth to adjust it. Once I put driven on, line it up with that. There, that's halfway decent. But, and that way, with these two being independent, if this jack shaft goes this way or this way, I mean, right now it looks like it might be going, looking at this bar in relation to this, it looks like it's going at an angle like that. So I'd have to move this over, straighten it out, tighten down the nuts. Yeah. See, when it comes to building your own jack shaft setup like this, it's a lot harder to do because there's so much alignment that you have to pay attention to. When you have a preset jack shaft and all that, that's all designed by a factory, and it's all pre-measured. But this, you have to meticulously go through each point and make sure that everything is parallel or at 90 degrees from each other. Now, one thing I'm going to have to do to make sure that this driver, or the driven here, the big pulley, doesn't slide on the jack shaft here, is I'm going to have to cut a now since it's the 3/4 inch piece of tubing that's going to fit over the top of this this jack shaft, that'll create a spacer between the inside of this bearing up to the edge of the torque converter here. So I'm going to have to put a spacer in there because I don't have any more of these. So, but that's alright though. This will be going on the outside, and a spacer will be going right there. And I think I'll be putting in I'll most likely put in a spacer right here. And I'll have to wait to put a spacer in here because I have to align this sprocket up with the sprocket that's going to go on the tire right there. Now I was looking around on my steel here, and I found one little piece of DOM tubing, and I already checked that out, and this is a little too long, so I could cut this down, but luckily in my box back here, I've got a big 2.5 foot section of it. Now this is DOM tubing, and this is kind of the stuff you want to use over regular tubing when to use it in this fashion, to use it as a cover over a jack shaft or an axle or anything like that. You want to use DOM because the bead on the inside, if it's regular tubing, you know, scratches up the axle a little bit when it's flopping around or whatever. But so I've got my spacers covered. Now you can see how I've just got the tower sitting there, but I'll probably be putting in I'll put in a piece that's going to come up to here. I don't want to get too close to the bottom part of this bolt that I got welded there. So it's probably going to be maybe a little 3-inch angled piece that's going to go in there and act as a brace for the tower. Because when this thing is engaged, it wants to pull towards the engine. And on this side, this wants to pull towards the tire, or pull the tire to it. So we've got stress bringing together here, stress bringing together stuff over there. So we need to put in some triangular pieces right here. And it'll probably be something like this. See if this will even work. I'll luck out with one piece. No. Yeah, these are 30-degree cuts. That won't work. I'll have to cut them at 45, but if I cut them at 45, the full 45 cut will cover this entire plane, but I'll have a gap down here because a 45 cut creates, oh come on, get in there. It creates that type of thing. See what I'm saying? Or it's going to create that type of thing. That looks like a much better thumbnail right there. Alright guys, I'm going to jump out of here, kind of finalize some of this stuff up. Once I get all that stuff welded back together, probably tear apart the back of the bike because I got to take that tire off. I have to get that axle off and I have to get that tire off, and then I have to get these holes drilled for the bearings to be bolted into the frame.
Then take the axle and the tire off of the rear of the bike, transfer it over here, and then figure out what I'm going to do next.
But anyways, guys, I'm going to jump out of here. Thumbs up the video. Post a comment down below. Hopefully you'll be around for the live stream. And if you could, please jump over to Patreon and join up over there. Because all these builds happen because of you guys. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye. Man. You know what I need to do? I need to change this table because this poor thing, oh, you know, it's 2-ply particle board, or not particle board, but press board, and this has gotten wet, and just over the years of me using it, the entire tabletop is warped. What I need to do is I need to get myself a big chunk of steel for this. So it's going to be a legitimate welding table. And that way, then I wouldn't have to build everything on the floor because the cement's somewhat level. This table right here is a welding table, but this is a finishing table. This is a table that's not straight. It's just warped all to beat hell. You know, it's not a, I call it a finishing table. You build everything straight on the ground or a regular welding table, and then you transfer it over to a table like this, because that way you can just weld the hell out of everything and not worry about all the sparks and stuff falling and collecting on your original welding table. See? See how that works?